put some fucking pants on and go outside and do some shit.
There's nothing to do.
There's nothing to do.
Girl, there is nothing to do.
The Sandhills wants to know what time it is. It's time to get ready for the unlimited social scoop. Introducing Nuthin To Do, the Sandhills Social Scene Podcast, straight from the Share Studios with your host, Dominique.
Hey friends, welcome to the Nuthin To Do Podcast with me, your host, Dominique. And I will be here each and every week to give you guys a guide onto what there is to do in town. You're probably asking, what makes me the expert? Well, let me tell you. Being a resident Fayettevillian, I know it's a really hard thing to say sometimes. I've seen a lot of places come and go. I've seen a lot of bars come and go, a lot of acts come and go. But going to high school at Douglasburg High School and being in their jazz band, I got to go out and see what a lot of the grown-up world was like. Say, for instance, we'd play a gig at Fayetteville State, and then there used to be an actual Fat Daddy's pool hall on Skybo, where most of you guys will notice is now a Chipotle, I believe. And we would stop there for lunch on our way back to school before we go to practice. Play pool, grab something to eat, right? So fast forward a little bit, going to East Carolina. Oh, I learned how to do things every night of the year. Just ask my academic advisor. They'll let you know. When I got back home after ECU, when I first started working for WFNC and Rock 103, this was back in 2006, 2005, 2006. We had like places where we can go catch live music just about every night of the week. Like, for instance, a lot of you guys remember Jester's Pub. Baby, let me tell you, Jester's Pub, there was nothing for you to leave your house in the middle of the week and catch Seven Dust on stage. A lot of other live local acts. When I tell you, Jester's brought the heat. The lead singer of Godsmack asked a friend of mine if Jester's Pub still did not have ACA. Like, how crazy is that? Like, someone who's so big can remember such a small venue that we take for granted all the time. Now, Jester's Pub's gone. Rock Shop came in. Rock Shop's gone. We had It's to go to for our clubbing days. Because, I mean, a lot of you guys were former pirates too. So you know, we know how to get down. And It's was a real popping club, right? But now we don't have It's anymore. Which is fine because I can't pop, lock, and drop it like I used to anyways. My back's bad, my knee's bad, my credit's bad, everything's bad. But you know what? There's still a lot to do in Fayetteville instead of just clubbing and going to the bar. Now, granted, the bars give us trivia, bingo, my favorite, karaoke. But we have things like galas of art. Sweet Tea Shakespeare is giving us the realest lyricist of existence. My number one MC, my number one rapper, William Shakespeare. Battle me if you want to. We also have Cool Spring Downtown District, which just threw a banger of a New Year's Eve party. I'm a little biased because I think the MC was really cute. But you also have radio stations like us with Rock 103, WFNC, Magic 106.9, and Q98, which has been a name in my household growing up forever. They're still throwing events too. So if you don't like Fayetteville, that's fine. A lot of people don't like where they live. But don't you dare tell me there's nothing to do. And that's where I come into play. I am your self-proclaimed tour guide on what there is to do here and around the Sandhills. We're not just talking about Fayetteville though, because if you guys will travel all the way to catch a Live Nation show at Walnut Creek, there's no reason for you not to be able to catch a show in Robeson County or even Sanford, Southern Pines. I'll even take a weekend in Wilmington. So the next time you're sitting there and you're wondering, I'm bored, there's nothing to do, come watch us. It's the Nuthin To Do Podcast. All right, guys, welcome back to Nuthin To Do, the podcast about anything going on in and around the Sandhills. Who I have beside me is someone who's opened up channels for a lot of people to do a lot of dope things within the city, and I'm a big fan. But LJ, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
My first guest.
Really?
Yeah.
First guest? I thought you had more guests than me.
Oh,
Guess
no,
that.
shh, mind your business. Okay.
I'm tripping.
So what's going on? What do you do around town? Talk to us.
All right, so my name's El'Ja Bowens. Everybody knows me as LJ here in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I do a plethora of things, but if I could say the one thing that everyone knows me for here in Fayetteville, North Carolina, is being a spoken word artist and along with a event planner that plans a lot of open mics and poetry events here in the city.
Okay. So what made you want to jump into spoken word? Was it just something that you just popped out at like the age of 0 and was like, oh, I got these bars?
Wow, so this story would take a long time, but just to speed it up, it literally started from me being in my last deployment, and I came out with a poetry book that my chief warrant officer wanted me to come out with. And when I got back here in Fayetteville, I found out about a couple of spots here that had open mics, one being Mojo's, the other being the coffee scene. And I really just got out there and wanted to just promote my book, but then I started getting appreciation for open mics. So started going to open mics, which then in turn, over the years, got me wanting to develop my own open mic, which we started Poetry in Motion back during the time when Docs the Capital existed here. And that was the biggest poetry event that happened here because we was doing it on a weekly basis, bringing in 120 people every Tuesday a week. So I cannot make that up. I got pictures. And from there, it just started wanting to find out more niches of what to do, and then kind of wanted to keep that space open for artists to be expressive, not be limited, but also still be, in a sense, kind of open to not disrespect anybody either when they do their work. Because you can be passionate about your work, but you don't gotta be disrespectful about it. So it kept me kind of in the city of wanting to still spread out open mics and do open mics over the years of being here.
So was it a need for poetry and writing in the city, or was it just your passion that drove you to open up these avenues for everyone?
It was a little bit of both. It was the passion, just wanting to do it and kind of have a space that I could say I helped create, because I know the city is, it was big on collaboration at the time when I came into it. So I wanted to help with the collaboration of bringing art to Fayetteville. It also became a need because after a while, some events started getting saturated and a lot of events started falling off, because even with any open mic, most times they don't have the lifespan. Most average open mics only last for a couple of months. You get lucky if you can go 6 months. You're blessed if you can go a year. You're even more blessed when it goes longer. So it just came to a point of just wanting to keep having an event that became like a safe space and a communal place, because a lot of people, when they come into these open mics that we put together, it gives them that sense of community that they can come in there, they're not going to be judged, and a lot of them end up becoming friends with a lot of people, and some people actually end up working with organizations or worked with some of the community leaders here in Fayetteville because of attending these events. So it kind of became one of those things where I just felt it was a need and was also just a passion to just keep it going here in the city.
And you had a squad of wordsmith, don't you?
Yeah, I do. So I coach a team known as the Detour Slam team. We started in 2019, back when the biggest poetry festival in the country, known as Southern Fried, came to Fayetteville. And that was our first year starting. And for our first year starting, we ended up being ranked 11th in the region. Okay. We ended up doing it when it went virtual in 2021, I believe, and then we ended up being ranked 10th in the world because it became worldwide when you do it virtually. But this last year, just past 2023, we ended up becoming the first ever Fayetteville team to be ranked 4th in the country.
Nice.
So, Fayetteville, you got more stuff to look up to now. So it was a good thing, and it's a good feeling. And now we're getting ready to put together our next team this month, and it's going to be exciting to see if we have any returning members, if we get a whole new team of new poets. So I'm excited for it.
Okay. So talking about building up the excitement, you guys, what do you have going on Friday?
So
Friday.
Friday at the Sweet Palate / Blanc Coffee Roasters in downtown Fayetteville, we are doing an event known as Art Meets Life. We are going into our 10th year of doing this event. And every January, we now do what's known as a Detour Slam. So the Detour Slam brings out 12 poets from the area, and they all compete for a chance to represent Fayetteville at what's known as Southern Fried. This year, Southern Fried is going to be in Pompano Beach, Florida. So we'll be getting our team together in January, get them to go through the ropes, get them ready, because in June, we're going to compete, see if we can bring back the title. And that's one of our biggest things, because Fayetteville, always has a representation of us either being known as Fayetteville, which that is just played out now, or we're only being represented by a particular individual. They think this is all Fayetteville has to offer. We have so much more based on the artists and the people that are here. So we look forward to having this event happen. And if you're in Fayetteville, it's going to be, once again, at the Sweet Palette / Black Coffee Roasters, 101 Person Street. Doors open at 7:30. Event starts at 8:15. It is free for anyone to enter and watch the event.
Bet. So tell the people, now, my whole thing is to bring newness to those who are searching for something else. So I know where to find you on your socials. Tell people where to find you.
Nice. So you can find me everywhere on socials at ELJA Poetry. That's ELJA, the word poetry, all connected to one word. And when I mean everywhere, that's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, because I do have a Snapchat that I don't use, TikTok, and of course, you can find me on my website at Poetry in Motion NC. That's poetry, the letter N, motionnc.com.
So there you have it, guys. I guess we're all going to be at Sweet Palette on Friday. See you there. Coming up, you guys, I have a little bit of a trivial person to come help us out, figure out what there are other things to do around town. All right, guys, welcome back to Nuthin To Do. Hope you guys don't mind little small little breaks, but yo, we got to pay the bills. I am coming to you live from Share Studios. Want to go ahead and let you guys know, like, check them out, like them on all the social medias because it's a dope space.
That's pretty
Also, we're doing it again. Also, what I learned from our next guest is that trivial means unimportant.
Well,
So,
commonplace.
what?
You described me as unimportant, commonplace. Yeah.
So, what important of a person that knows all these things, right, inside of his big
I
brain?
do know most things. Yeah.
Samson, our extraordinaire that's in trivia. You do karaoke. The first time I met you was at Buffalo Wild Wings when I hosted karaoke there.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, Samson does a mean Come Together by the Beatles.
No.
You wanna
that
do it
was about 40 years ago, maybe.
You want to do it now?
No, I'm okay.
Okay.
Little throw thing going on. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Well, you have a lot of things going on with life, but one of the things, one of your, I don't want to say hobby because a lot of times people are like, oh, that's like downplaying what I really love. But one of your passions, I guess I could say, is trivia. Mm-hmm. You gotta be the smartest guy in the room, huh?
I mean, I tend to be. So why not? Why not just let people know? Yeah.
So, what got you into trivia?
Just competing with friends.
Yeah.
Keep going out, competing with friends, and then Patty's does trivia every Friday. They still do. Doors open at 7:30. They start trivia at 8. And every now and then they needed a host to fill in, cover if the normal host was out of town. And so I said, I'll do it as long as I get to write the questions. Because that's the most fun for me is actually writing the questions.
Okay.
But that's how I got into it to begin with, was just filling in.
So, explain to the people, those who are like trivia, like taking pop quizzes, what do you expect when you walk into a door, especially when you're hosting trivia?
I mean, expect to have fun, expect to learn. I think is one of the most fun aspects of it because you ask questions. For me, a good question is a question that, I mean, it ranges. Well, let's define a bad question. A bad question is a question nobody knows, and a bad question is a question everybody knows.
Okay.
So why even bother? Okay. You know. So good questions are anywhere from 75% to 25% of the teams get it right. So that's kind of the sweet spot for trivia. And it's actually harder to do than you think. And when you're writing trivia questions, it's a little difficult to narrow that in. It also depends on the venue and who's doing the trivia, age group, social, economic, wherever you are. But once you find that sweet spot, it can be really fun.
Nice. So how long would you say, because I feel like the trivia bandwagon, not necessarily bandwagon because it's probably another derogatory term, the trivia wave has been riding for at least like the last couple of years. Has this been something you've been doing longer than that?
No. I just started filling in at Patty's occasionally, and now I do it at the Gaston Tap Room every Thursday, 6. But there's trivia all over town. Yeah. Dirtbag does trivia down at their spot. I think on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Vibe Gastropub, they've got really good vegan food if you haven't been. They do it on Wednesdays. The Gaston restaurant does it on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. And then I'm at the tap room on Thursdays. But it's, and then Patty still does it on Fridays. Yeah, it's just all over town. It's still going strong everywhere.
Yeah. So, like, when is it going to be Samson versus Fayetteville? the trivia
Ooh,
gauntlet.
how do you mean? How do you mean?
The trivia gauntlet, where you're gonna just throw a big event and take on all the other trivia goers in town. I think you should do that. I think it should be a cage match.
What's the are right questions, or do I have to compete
No,
against
you're
people?
competing against
okay.
everyone.
Yeah.
You think you can take it?
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
Take the belt?
I mean, part of the genius of me just pretending I'm a genius is to not do that. But yeah, I'm up for the challenge. I'm up for the challenge.
Bet. So, I'm guessing you're like the rest of us and you're promoting what you do on your socials. Tell people where they can find you.
The best thing to do is to follow all these local businesses on social media.
Okay.
Go to Dirtbag, go to Gaston, go to Vibe, go to Patty's, the church, and just follow all these places on your social media. And then you'll be up to date on everything they're doing. And I mean, that's just the ones that are right off the top of my head. There's plenty of other places that have fun things going on or doing trivia.
Cool. So you guys heard it there. If you want to take down Samson on his personal time when he's doing trivia, you can catch him at all those other places. Again, thank you guys for coming and watching Nuthin To Do. So one thing you'll notice about me is that I have a lot of homies, siblings, and best friends. But those of you who know me know that my mama Peaches only had one child. That's me. Having that said, let's talk about this homie, brother, friend, Dustin Day. He's been a singer for nearly 20 years, and he started his first band called Tonic Immobility. After that project, he linked up with some of his homies, and eventually he started rolling with these new homies and formed a rock band called Hydryver. When he's not performing with Hydryver, he often performs solo. Or you can catch him hosting karaoke at Dirty Whiskey Craft and Cocktails every Thursday in Hope Mills. His next solo performance will be Saturday, January 6th at Paul's Place around 8, right here in Fayetteville. So I'll leave you guys with some rolling credits of things to do in a Nuthin To Do city. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'm your host, Dominique. Have the best week ever. Bye.
There is nothing to do.
There's nothing to do. There's nothing to do.
There's nothing to do. There's nothing to do.
There is nothing to do.
There's nothing to do. There's nothing to do.
There's nothing to do. There's nothing to do.
There is nothing to do.
There's nothing to do. There's nothing to do.
Thanks for tuning in to the Nothing to Do Weekly Podcast, recorded at the Share Studios in Fayetteville, North Carolina, with your host, Dominique. And make sure to tune in next week because it's only going to get better.